ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सहस्रशीर्षं देवं विश्वाक्षं विश्वशंभुवं विश्वन्नारायणं देवमक्षरं परमं पदं विश्वतः परमान् नित्यं विश्वन्नारायणगुं हरिं विश्वमेवेदं पुरुषस्तद्विश्वमुपजीवति पतिं विश्वस्यात्मेश्वरगुं शाश्वतगुं शिवमच्युतं नारायणं महाज्ञेयं विश्वात्मानं परायणं नारायण परो ज्योतिरात्मा नारायणः परः नारायण परं ब्रह्म तत्त्वन्नारायणः परः नारायण परो ध्याता ध्यानं नारायणः परः यच्च किञ्चित् जगत् सर्वं दृश्यते श्रूयतेऽपि वा. So we saw the meaning of the word Narayana. Narayana means the one who has the waters as his abode, or the samudra. So Nara means apaha, and water itself is born out of Nara. Nara is the Paramatma here. Nariyate iti Naraha. And Yasya Ayanam Apaha is Narayana, the one whose abode, or one whose Sthanam, one who is available. That is the Sthula meaning, or the physical meaning. And that's how in the Purana also Narayana is always talked about as being in Tamil we say Parkadal, Milky Ocean. Okay. In fact, there is even a very famous song, correct? Tirupparkadalil Palli Kondaye Srimannarayana. Like that. This song is a very famous song. From my childhood, I always remember Narayana means this song comes to my mind, and the visual also in the movie. It's a movie song. So that really gives you the meaning of the word Narayana. But the actual meaning, or the sukshma meaning, subtle meaning, is that the one who is available in each and every being as the very consciousness, one who is manifest as the awareness, consciousness, sentiency, whichever word you may use, in each and every being as the antaryami, being the consciousness which is manifest. Narayana is the one who is also making everything active. All activities are happening in the presence of this Narayana, who is as though the antaryami, means one who is controlling you from within you, as the sentiency, as the consciousness. So that is the sukshma meaning or subtle meaning. Now this Narayana only is supposed to be the one who is to be meditated upon. Is the upasya. Here the Narayana Sukta itself is all about telling you the different rupas or forms of this Narayana, so that you can meditate on Narayana. So here this Narayana is said as Vishwataha Paraman Nityam. There is also another reading, Vishwataha Paramam Nityam also is there. Okay. Similarly, the first one also, Paramam Padam is there. There is also a Paramam Prabhum, like that also there is a reading is there. Prabhu. Prabhu means Lord of everybody, like that also you can take a meaning. Similarly here, Vishwataha Paraman Nityam is what we are seeing in this document, but Paramam Nityam also there is a reading. Meaning doesn't change much. So the one who transcends this entire world, you can say Vishwataha Paramat. Therefore he is Nityam. Therefore he is eternal. Means eternal is not just long time. Understand that. In normal usage, we say, I was eternally waiting for you. You would have waited for 1 hour maybe for somebody, and then you say, I was eternally waiting for you. See, eternal is not in time. Whatever is in time can never be eternal, in fact, because it will end with time itself. So, really, Vishwataha Paramat means the one who transcends space time, one who is not in space time, but space time is there in whom. Correct? That is Narayana. Therefore, that Narayana is Nityam. Okay? Vishwam also, the one who is there as everything. This Vishwam word comes again and again. But there is no Punarukti dosha, there is no repetition, is not a defect here. Understand that. Because Narayana is being praised here and Narayana is the Upasya also. So, for you to grasp the form of Narayana, certain words are repeated. The word Narayana itself is repeated a lot. Okay, Narayanam, Harim. The word, the meaning of Hari also we saw already. The one who takes away your papa, or more than papa, your ajnana. Because as a mumukshu, ajnanam is the worst thing. Correct? Because of ajnanam, you think you are having papa, that you are a papi. But in reality, you have nothing to do with papa or punya or anything. You are not even a karta bhokta. Then how can you have any papa, any karma? So the one who takes away your ajnana also is Hari, not just papa. For normal people, you can say Bhagavan is the one who takes away your papa. You have to only call Bhagavan. But for a mumukshu, for a jijnasu, the one who is desirous of knowledge, self-knowledge, Bhagavan, Narayana, Hari is the one who takes away your ajnanam, who destroys your ajnanam. Then what? Vishwamevedam purushastad vishwamupajivati. Vishwam eva idam purushaha. Idam vishwam purushaha eva. So this world, this vishwam, in fact, whatever we see as this due to ignorance, correct? Because only due to ignorance, we are seeing two things. Aham, idam, correct? In fact, Brahma Sutra Bhashya also, Shankaracharya starts with Yushmad, Asmad, Shabda, like that. Okay. Yushmad, Asmad, Shabda, Gocharayoho, Vishaya Vishayinoho, Tamah Prakasavat, Viruddha Swabhavayoho. Like that, Bhashyakara starts. So, Yushmad, Asmad, this and I or me. Okay. Which is what? Object, subject. Vishaya, Vishayi. Tamah Prakashavat also. Darkness and light. Like darkness and light. Viruddha Swabhavayoho. Okay. Is opposed in nature, like light and darkness. Subject and object are two different things. They cannot be one and the same. Correct? This and I. But still what? The tragedy is what? I take this as I. So this body is taken as I. This mind is taken as I. These senses are taken as I. Their qualities are looked upon as my qualities. I am fat. I am ugly, I am idiot, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I am blind. All these things are wrong because the qualities of this can never become the qualities of I. The dharma of the objects cannot become the dharma of the subject. This is very fundamental, correct? Whatever is this is not I. It's a very simple thing, but not very easy to grasp. Or even if you have an insight, it goes away very quickly because the identification with your body mind sense complex is strong. It is coming from Janma Janmantara, like it is coming from so many lifetimes, correct? That Viparita Bhavana has to be overcome. That is why all this Upasana and all is very important. That you think that you are a limited body, you are confined within this body, that itself one has to overcome. That's why in the Upasana, they reverse it. They make you see your whole body itself as the whole macrocosm. The whole cosmos is nothing but it is there in your body. That is the Upasana, really. And then that's how you overcome that whatever that natural tendency to take oneself as somebody who is confined to this limited body. So whatever you think as this world is nothing but Purushaha, Narayanaha. How can you say that? Because I am only seeing this world with so many different objects, world made up of all these five elements, or if you are a chemist, made up of so many elements which are there in periodic table. Right? I am only seeing earth, water, fire, wind, and space. And I am seeing different beings in this, which are all made up of these five elements. That is the Ajnana Drishti. That is the vision of one who is ignorant. So, what does the Jnani see then? Jnani is only seeing Purushaha. Only Bhagavan alone is there. Narayana alone is manifest as everything. How can you say that Narayana is the Karana of everything? Correct? That is why Narayana is Param also. Vishwataha Paramat or Vishwataha Paramam. When we say, how can you say Narayana transcends or Narayana is exalted? You can say, correct? Compared to the world, Narayana is exalted. Param transcends means transcends because Narayana is the cause. The cause transcends the effect. The cause is exalted with reference to the effect. The effect is cause, but the cause is not effect. Understand that. This inequality also always you have to understand. B is A is not B. Beggar is actor, actor is not beggar. Pot is gold, gold is not pot. Bangle is gold, gold is not bangle. Chain is gold, gold is not chain. Gold is gold. In your understanding of gold, there is no other forms or names or anything. But a golden chain is always gold, particularly when you want to take loan, correct? If it is not gold, then you cannot take loan. Nobody will give you loan only for the chain. In fact, the pawn broker or the whoever is the banker is a jnani because the banker only sees gold. You may see it as chain, necklace, ring, whatever, earring and all that. For the banker, everything is gold. He is just weighing gold. Based on the weight, you will get whatever money you want, correct? So, like that, you may see this world has so many names and forms. But Jnani is seeing only Purushaha. From this Purusha alone, everything came. Purusha who is Purnaha. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Same thing. From the Purna Purushaha. Okay. Purusha who is Purnaha. And this world also is complete, full, total. And from that Purusha only this world has come. And if you remove this world also, that Purusha will remain still Purusha only, Purnaha. If you remove the chain, gold is still gold, correct? Gold. You can melt the chain. Chain is gone. But whatever is there is gold. Gold remains as gold. Gold is not going to go away anywhere. It has not lost anything, really speaking. That is the beauty here. So Vishwameva idam Purushaha. Idam Vishwam Purushaha eva. That is the vision of the Jnani. Same thing is said in different words also. If you take in Tamil, there is a Tirumandiram, Tirumular says the same thing. He says, Marattai Maraitadu Mamada Yanai. Marattil Maraindadu Mamada Yanai. So the great mad elephant, it seems. Madayana means the elephant, sometimes they go mad. They start destroying everything on their way. Ferocious, mad elephant, but made up of wood, not real elephant, okay? But what? It looks so real. You just come and see, and you see that there is a ferocious elephant. You start running, in fact. You turn around. You don't want to be on the path of this ferocious elephant. But what really was there was only wood. The wood was covered. When you looked at it as elephant, only elephant is there, correct? There is no wood. When you look at this world as all these different objects, the Panchabhutas, only you see that. You are not seeing Bhagavan or Purusha. Then there is fear, because you are also one of the objects in this world. Your body is so small, everything else is so big, and you have to live in this hostile world, let us say. Therefore, everybody is a ninja. You are all struggling to achieve something. It's always a struggle. Whatever you may become, you are still struggling. A mosquito can get you, a virus can get you, you can't even see it. That is the problem with an identity like that, correct? When you identify with your body, mind, sense complex, all the problems of the body are your problem. All the problems of your senses are your problem. All the problems of the mind also, that is the worst, I think. So many people suffer due to psychological problems. Very difficult. Okay, they have their own perceptions, thought patterns. Not very easy also. It's not very easy to just by telling them the truth or anything, nothing is going to happen. Because perception is the reality, correct? Reality doesn't matter. How they perceive it matters more. So somehow they have to change their perception. They have to have a cognitive change, correct? And many times you cannot help also. Unless they seek help, you cannot help. Even if they seek help, it is very difficult to help. It takes time, effort. So people suffer. So that is a tragedy because they don't know the reality. All that is here is only Bhagavan. Like all that is there is only wood. Marattai maraitadu mamadayane. The elephant covered the wood. But what? If you see it as wood, Maratil maraindadu mamadayane. The great elephant disappears into the wood. This great world disappears into Narayana. Narayana alone is there. Purusha alone is there. It just disappears. That is the vision. It's just a change of vision, cognitive change, nothing else. You don't become anything new. You are what you are always. It's just a change of vision. The elephant did not become wood. Understand that. Or some people, yoga people are all, they always want to get union because they are also told that yoga, yoke means union and all that. So they say that the individual self has to merge within has to gain union. The limited self has to become united with the limitless self. Hey, what is this union? Union, united, merging and all. There is no real merging, union or whatever. Understand that. The elephant did not merge with the wood. It was always wood, in fact. Wood alone was there, correct? It's only a way of saying it, correct? Language sometimes can be confusing. Okay. So the elephant disappeared into the wood. Similarly, what? Parattai maraitadu parmudal bhutam. So this, all the five Panchabhutas are there. They are covering the Param Brahma, Param or Parama Purusha here, Narayana. Because you are only seeing variegated objects, different things. Everything is differentiated in this world. Only differences you are seeing. But all these are nothing but names and forms. They are only appearances. Their reality is one and the same. This is understood even by many scientists, correct? Because you can reduce everything to a few fundamental particles and they also become waves and all that. You know, in the quantum world, even the don't think a particle is even really solid and all that. You cannot even think like that, really speaking. At the level of particles, although we may like to think of it like some solid point or anything, even that kind of an imagination or visualization is wrong. That's what even scientists themselves say. So everything is wave, energy, like that, it becomes abstract. And for that also there has to be a conscious observer, like that they also have to go to that level. So everything is really one. At the quantum level, already everything is space only. 99% is space. So what do we call as all this solid, liquid, and etc. etc. It's all only appearance. It's all Maya. That is what is Maya. Understand that. Maya is this one appearing as many. That is the greatest Maya. But if you are able to see the one in the many, then you have jnana drishti, you have vision, you have the vision of the wise man, you can say. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyan jagarti sanyami. Like that Bhagavan also says in Gita. So for all the beings, whatever is night, to that reality, the jnani is awake. Okay. Tasyam jagarti sanyami. Yanisha pashyato munehe. So the muni or the jnani for whom whatever is night, that is like day for the other ajnanis. So Ajnanis are seeing only the world. Jnani is seeing only Purusha. So this entire world is Purusha only. This world is born from the Purusha, sustained by the Purusha, resolves back into the Purusha. It has no being other than being the Purusha. It has no independent existence. So that is the crux. Understanding that everything is nothing but a manifestation or appearance of this Purusha is the goal here, in fact. And what? Further what? Tad Vishwamupajivati. So this Vishwam Upajivati means Ashrayati. So it is for its own sustenance, it is supported or it takes support. Purusha is the one who is supporting this entire objective world. Also the subject also. You cannot leave the subject. If you talk about the object, you have to talk about the subject. The subject-object duality itself is like a mutually dependent thing, correct? You are not even a subject if there is no object to be cognized. And if there is no subject, there is no object also. And if there is no object, there is no subject. Means they are mutually dependent. But whatever is mutually dependent has to have a third independent thing. Otherwise, this mutual dependency cannot come about. That is the Purusha, Narayana. The subject object itself resolves into Narayana. That is the reality. So this entire thing is supported by Narayana, the subject object duality. In fact, each and every cognition resolves into you, who is nothing but pure consciousness. You are the conscious being into whom everything resolves. Each and every cognition resolves into you. But the thing is, you do not know that. You are so focused on knowing the object as a subject that the most obvious thing is taken for granted. You are that conscious being in whom both the subject and object are there. That's the reality. That is what needs to be appreciated. So this entire subject object duality is supported by you as the conscious being. That's what is this Tad Vishwam Upajivati. So this Vishwam is Jivi, the one who is supported. Okay. And Upajivya, you can say if you want, or Jivi, Jivya, and all that. The supporter is Narayana, Bhagavan, the limitless conscious being. Further what? Patim Vishwasyatmeshwaragum Shashvatagum Shivamachyutam. Vishwasya Patim Palakatvat, like that, Sainacharya says. So the one who is the Pati of this entire Vishwa, why? Because he is the one who is sustaining this whole world, protecting. Palakatvat means the protector, means sustainer. The world does not have an independent existence of its own. World exists or borrows its existence from this Purusha Narayana. That's why this Narayana is Vishwasya Pati. Like even the pot doesn't exist by itself. The existence of the pot is nothing but the existence of gold. assuming you have a golden pot. So the pot itself is sustained only by the gold. So like that, in the gold universe, all the names and forms are sustained by gold only. All the names and forms are nothing but gold. So gold is the Pati, Vishwasya Pati. Like that, here Narayana is the Vishwasya Pati, Palakaha, the one who protects. Also what? Atmeshwaram. This while chanting we say all this gum and all that. That is all part of the, that is, each Veda has its own certain things, how we chant, okay? There is a separate book also for that called Pratishakyam. So each Shakha of the Veda has its own Pratishakya, where the rules of pronunciation are all enunciated. So Atmeshwaram, Shashwatam means we chant it as Atmeshwaragum. So this Chandra Bindu becomes Gum. Gus also it becomes sometimes, depending on what you chant or what is following. Okay. So there is no Gakara there. So don't get confused. Where is the Ga? There is only Atmeshwaram is there, really. Shashwatam. But we say Shashwatagum, Atmeshwaragum, and all that. That is only for chanting purposes. So Atmeshwaram means what? Atma here is all the beings, jivas, and this Purusha is the Ishvara, Lord of all the jivas, being the Antaryami, the one who is manifest as the very consciousness in each and every being. So Atmeshwara, Lord of all the beings. Correct? And because of that only, Shashwatam, you can say. Because even any being dies, is the Atma also gone means no. Consciousness is always there. It can never be destroyed because it can never be objectified. Understand that. Only that which can be objectified can be destroyed, correct? Now this particular point is said very detailed in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter also. Bhagavan in fact starts teaching Arjuna about the Atma Swarupa only, because he is grieved or he is grieving that he is about to kill all these people. So Bhagavan points out Atma can never be killed. Atma is neither the killer nor can it be killed. And it is aprameya, he says. Aprameya means what? It is not an object. But we all take ourselves to be this body, which is an object, one of the objects in the creation. That is due to ignorance. But really speaking, you are always the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident, including your body, mind, sense complex. So you are always that conscious being alone. Whatever you cognize, the cognized objects can never be I. I can never be this. Whatever is this is not I. So this particular thought process or insight has to be repeated again and again and again till your identity with your body, mind, sense complex is gone. That is the whole idea of the upasana also. So you are Shashwata that way. Why? Because you can never be objectified. Only objects can be destroyed. They can be, in fact, Bhagavan in Gita, he gives so much detail there. What? Uh, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyaapaha, na shoshayati marutaha, अच्छेद्योयम अदाह्योयम अक्लेद्यो शोष्ययेव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयम अचिन्त्योऽयम अविकार्योऽयम उच्यते. Like that, Bhagavan keeps on saying, Nainam chindanti shastrani. The shastra cannot cut. You cannot be cut by any sword or anything like that. Nainam dahati pavakaha. You cannot be burned by fire. Nachainam kledayantyaapaha. You cannot be drowned in water. Nashoshayati marutaha. You cannot be dried by the wind. Okay. Like this, Bhagavan is giving a whole list. Why? Because you are not an object. Only objects can be subjected to all these things. You are always the conscious being who is an eternal subject, you can say. When there is an object, that is, even the status of being a subject is only something dependent or relative. So, being the subject, you automatically become the invariable in each and every cognition. That's why you are eternal, Shashvata. You are the invariable, unchanging, conscious being in each and every cognition. And being this invariable in each and every cognition, and that is why you are also limitless, because you are the one in whom the entire space time is. The entire objective universe is becoming evident to you. In fact, it depends on you. That's why you are limitless, because you are pervading both the subject and the object as the limitless consciousness. And that is why you are also Shivam, auspicious, Shivam, Achyutam also, never declining, never changing, unchanging reality. You are the invariable, okay, presence, never changing. And since you are the limitless, you are the source of all happiness also. Anantam alone is really Ananda also. Understand that? Because all dukkha is because of Antavatvam. You take yourself as a limited being, means you are wanting. You are wanting means then you have dukkha. You want to get rid of that want. Then you are struggling. You may succeed, you may not succeed. That is adding further pain. All this is because you have taken yourself as a limited being. That is the fundamental problem. As a limited being, I am unacceptable to myself. So, my fundamental problem is one of being, or one of self non acceptance. My fundamental problem is one of self non acceptance. And that self non acceptance itself is there because of how I see myself. But I am Shivaha, Shivam. I am the source of all happiness, all auspiciousness, all Mangala. That is the reality. And I am also unchanging reality, because I am the invariable in each and every cognition as the conscious being. The objects of consciousness keeps on varying, but I am there as the conscious being, invariable in each and every cognition. The whole world can be just looked upon as objects and subject. That's all. Achyutaha na chyavate iti achyuta. So this achyuta also is interesting word, correct? Because once In fact, in the 80s, my Guruji, Dayanandji, used to go all over US to different universities. He was giving some talks, Vedanta talks and all that. So once it seems some professor, I don't know who, so he was supposed to give some talk, but before that, one person came and he said, there is no truth. Nobody can define what is truth. Truth is a whatever. Truth cannot be defined and all that. Like this, there is a notion which is floating around. Okay. And if you make some statement like that, which most people cannot understand, then the one who makes the statement becomes some kind of a great person. Okay. Many people have this problem again. Understand this. You go somewhere, listen to somebody, and you don't understand anything. Then what do you think? You think that person must be great because he's talking something which I don't understand. In fact, if he's really great, he should be able to explain it to everybody clearly. Clarity is the real greatness. Understand that. If somebody is talking something which you cannot understand, that does not make that person automatically great or anything. Clarity is real greatness. The ability to clearly communicate is very important. This whole vision has to be communicated through words. It has to be taught only through words. So clarity is very important. What words we use to communicate is very important. In fact, as a student, as a shishya also, the words which you use, even in your own understanding, or when you are thinking about all these things, the words which you use is very important. Do not use the words which are not used by your teacher, even while you are thinking about it yourself. If you are using some words yourself, then you are going to bring all the confusion associated with those words. If your teacher is not consciously using a certain word, means there is a certain reason for that, correct? Even I don't use many words while teaching Vedanta because I don't want you to get confused. If you go and read books or you listen to so many other teachers are there, they are all using different words. But words are the means of knowledge for us. And we have to be very careful. If you are teaching also, you have to be careful about the words you use. Or if you are just reflecting on the class, thinking about it also, you have to be very careful about the words which you use, even while you are thinking by yourself. So anyway, why am I saying this? So this person told my guru that you cannot define truth. And Swamiji said, Swamiji gave a very simple definition, which is not Swamiji's own. Understand it. That's what Bhashyakara gives. So he says that which can never be negated is the truth. Go, that's it. Now you try to break this definition. You said I cannot define truth. That which can never be negated is the truth. Correct? No? That's what Bhashyakara says. Satyam, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So while defining Satya, Bhashyakara says, Yadrupena yannisitam bhavati tadrupena tannam vyabhicharati iti Satyam. So once you have ascertained something as this, it never changes. It can never be negated. Correct? You have ascertained this is rope. Rope is rope. Correct? But if you see snake there, snake is not the truth because snake can be negated. You can say it is rope. But at least in the relative world, rope is rope. Correct? Rope cannot be negated. You have to accept it as the truth. Like that which can never be negated. Once you have ascertained as this, it never changes. Achyuta. That is the truth. That is the definition of truth. that which can never be negated. So this guy went away. He thought somehow he will break this definition. He could not. He came next day to the talk. Okay. Or before the talk, again he said, but okay, I accept the definition, but there is nothing called truth. This is another problem. Because I can negate everything, he said. This is also the Buddhist argument. They Shunya, everything is Maya. Okay, but what about the negator? The negator can never be negated. Understand that. To negate everything also, the negator has to be there. So the Swarupa of the negator is the truth, really speaking. Correct? That is the truth. That which can never be negated. That you are a conscious being is the truth. That can never be negated. Everything becomes evident to that conscious being. Even Shunya has to become evident. You say vacuum is there. Physically, there may be a vacuum. But who is cognizing that? Without that cognizing principle, vacuum also is not there. Correct? That is why we don't have any zero. We have Pujya. Correct? Also, although zero can be called Shunya, but in all Indian languages, even in Tamil, zero is called Pujya. Why? It is worship worthy. Pujya means that which is worthy of worship. Okay, puja yogyam, pujyam. See, zero, nothing is puja yogya or what? Nothing means there are no names and forms. Understand that. Even if all names and forms are gone, you can only destroy names and forms, but they really don't count because they don't have any existence of their own. You destroy all the names and forms. What is there? Is only the truth. Correct? The conscious being is still there. That is Bhagavan. All the names and forms are gone. Bhagavan is there. That is the vibhuti, in fact. You burn everything, only ashes, everything becomes ash. Correct? You have individual names and forms. Everything is there. Then you burn it. Once you burn what? There are no separate objects. No, only ash is there. That ash is vibhuti. That is the glory of Bhagavan. Because all the names and forms have now become only ash, which is the truth. So in the Jnanagni also, that is what we see, the third eye and all we say, correct? Jnana Chakshuhu means what? In Jnana Chakshu, all the names and forms are gone. What is there is only Chaitanyam, which is limitless. This limitless conscious being alone is there. All names and forms you can transcend. It's only a change of vision. So what remains always is Achyuta, never changes, can never be negated. It is the same conscious being always. And in fact, that conscious being Narayanam Mahajneyam. So this Narayana is Mahajneya, not just Nyeya. In fact, Bhagavad Gita also Nyeyam Yattat Pravakshami Yajñatva Mritam Anadimat Param Brahmana Sattanna Saduchyate. Like that, there is a famous verses there, correct? In the 13th chapter of Gita, just before that only Bhagavan talks about all the values. Okay, Etad Jnanamiti Proktam. Like that he says, he calls all the values as Jnanam. Why? Because Jnayate Anena iti. By having all these values only you can gain knowledge. So in Sanskritam you have all this Vyutpatti, correct? The way the words are derived. You can have a derivation based on instrumental derivation also. So Jnanam normally Knowledge means it is abstract. Or jnanam can also have knowledge of the object, means jnanam means it can also have an objective derivation. Or it can have the prathama means the one who is doing, correct? So you can also have derivation like that. So the doer or the instrument or object, all these ways we can derive the meaning of the word. Even in English it is there, correct? See, walk, walker, walker, er suffix means what? Now you have the karta, kartari vyutpatti we say. The er comes in the meaning of karta, walker, runner, all that, but not always. What about cooker? Cooker is an instrument. Cook, in fact, is the person who is really cooking. Cooker is an instrument. So er can come in the meaning of an instrument also. Like that jnanam, etat jnanamiti proktam. Like that Bhagavan says, he lists all the 20 qualities. Amanitvamadam ditvam ahimsa kshanti rarjavam. Like that. Then he says, Nyayam yattat pravakshyami, because you are saying these are all the values, and then they will help you to know. Okay, help me to know what? What should I know? In fact, it is the only thing worth knowing, really. All other things you cannot know completely. Because here they have given an interesting Mahajneyam also, correct? It is not just a Jneyam. It is Mahajneyam. Why it is Mahajneyam? You can say Mahan means very big, correct? Limitless, you can say. So the one which is limitless and one which is to be known, or only one which is the only one which is really worth knowing, like that also we can take. And why it is worth knowing? Bhagavan himself says, Yajñātva amritam ashnute. Yajñātva amritam ashnute. Knowing which you gain immortality, amritatvam, freedom from death, freedom from time itself, in fact. Okay, because you think you are limited in time, in space. All these limitations you can overcome by knowing this. And what is that? Anadimat param brahma. Anadimat, that which has no beginning. It is always there. In fact, always and all is again a temporal word, correct? That which transcends time. Time itself is there in which being, that being which is beginningless. That is why it is beginningless, because time itself begins in that. Space-time begins in that. Anadimat param brahma, it is param, limitless again. Brahma also word means the same thing. Brihi vriddhau, big, limitless. And what is that? Nasattanna saduchyate. It is neither sat nor asat. Because in our understanding, what exists, what does not exist and all, it is only within time. Correct? Existence also we understand with reference to space-time. Something in space-time, we say it exists. Something which you cannot locate, find in space-time, you say does not exist. But this Brahman is not an object in space-time. Correct? So if it is neither existing in space time, nor non-existent in space time. What else is left out? There is only one more thing left out, the subject. Correct? Because by saying it is neither an existent object nor a non-existent object, what have you negated? You have negated the entire objective world. Correct? And what is left out is only the subject, you, I, the conscious being. That is you. That is Mahajnayam, in fact. That is the only thing to be known. That is the only thing which can be completely known also, because you are partless whole. All the things, objective things are all, you can further keep on breaking it into different parts and all that. You can never know them completely. You are the partless whole. As a conscious being, you can know yourself totally. That way also you can say that you are the only thing worthy of knowing, because all other things you cannot know fully. All objective knowledge is always incomplete. You can keep on going why, or you can further break it down into something else. So this Narayana is Mahajneyam, Yajnatva Amritamashnute, knowing which you gain immortality, freedom from mortality. And this Narayana alone is Vishwatmanam again. So the Atma of this entire world, Sarvatma. So knowing which, in fact, you become Vishwatma also. Correct? So even Ishavasya Upanishad also says the same thing. Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says this. Correct? In the 6th chapter he says, what? Who is a yogi? Means he says the one who sees himself in each and every being and all beings in oneself also. Okay, both ways it is said. The same thing is said in Ishavasyam also. Ishavasya Upanishad itself says that. So Vishwatmanam, Sarvatmatvam is a very important thing. Being the self of all means you are limitless. You are the one who is manifesting as all these names and forms, as the limitless conscious being. And that is why you are Parayanam also. Parascha Ayanancha. So Ayanam means Sthanam, abode, and all that you can say. So there you don't have to go anywhere. Always people have only tourism promotion is being done by all theologies, correct? They always say you have to go somewhere. That is moksha. You go to Swarga, heaven, and each person is defining his own heaven also, according to their own fancy. And our people also are there, correct? You go to Kailasha, Vaikuntha, Golok, Brindavan. Like that, each person has his own something. All that is not really Parayana. If you have to go somewhere in time and space again, it is all limited. Apara only. Parayana is yourself. Atma Loka only. The self alone is your Loka. You have to know yourself, understand your reality. That is your Parayana. I am Atma, I am Lokaha. This self itself is your Loka. You don't have to go anywhere. So that is what is said here. We'll see further for Upasana purposes. In fact, so many other verses are there, riks are there, we'll see that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद.